Thank you so much for joining us. This is so special already. All of Noah's friends, a lot of them are here, boys, girls, people that made Aliyah from Teaneck, family. I think I'm going to walk over to the boys' table. Can I do that? I think Rabbi Hagler might be watching. Hi, Daddy. Hi, Paula. Can I walk over there? Yeah? Guys, you're live to America. You're live to America. Talk to Rabbi Hagler. Talk to everybody you know.
Hello.
And here are the girls, guys. You're on camera. Say hello. Say hello. This is Noah's class. All these wonderful young men and women. Okay. We're just waiting for people to get here. There was a diversion today on the road. A lot of traffic. We don't know what was going on. But, okay, let's see. Okay. First, I welcome to everyone who came so far. It's not easy to get to the old city. Today there was also a detour. There was a lot of traffic, a lot of delays. So I'm so grateful and appreciative to everybody who made it to be here with me and help celebrate. Imagine that. This is a celebration. Year 13. So the first few words that come to mind, mi ka'amcha. Mamash, look around you. We have old friends. I have new friends. I have friends of friends. I have friends' kids. It's really beautiful that everybody's here. It gives me a lot of nechama, a lot of comfort. So the first thing I want to do is kind of point out to everybody that when you're making a simcha, and in this case it's 3 bar mitzvahs and a bat mitzvah, you pretty much have a to-do list, you know, and you kind of check things off. Well, that's not how this happened, not by any means. To let you know, for the last 13 years, I think only twice I missed out. I've returned back to Yeshivat Noam every single year to speak to the lower grades and then separately to Noah's class when they got older. Especially the last 4 years, the kids would come back at night, and I know that was fun for all of you. It was like a reunion, right? Because the boys went to the boys' schools and the girls went to the girls' schools. And we would sit, and we would learn some Torah, and we would share, and we would just be together. So this event tonight is really a coming together of thoughts and ideas and HaKadosh Baruch Hu's awesome ways. So if I could just step back a minute to last year, Yard Site 12. And all of us were talking about where you were going to study in Israel, right? And Hashem gives us our thoughts and our words. And I had a flashback to Ari, Zichron Lebracha, whose friends had their gap year for Yard Site 4. And I did talk to you about that. And I remember at that yard site thinking, well, Noah's friends ever want to do this? He's only 6. Well, wow, who would ever know? So we kind of started to talk about it. And I remember everybody had to friend me on Facebook. And I'm like, yeah, you're friending a 54-year-old woman? That's a little lame, but let's do this. And you all got so excited about the idea of doing this in Israel. And I said, that's it, I'm down. I'm down for this. We're going to make this happen. And then one thing kind of led to the next. And this all happened again in bits and pieces. So how did this really all happen? We went from that yard site, right, and an idea and a thought, and I called Rabbi Hagler. And I'm not thanking anybody in order tonight because everybody is so important and everybody had a hand in this. So it all started with Rabbi Hagler. And I called him up and I gave him the idea that I would like to do a siyum. And I'm so technology lame. And I said, you really need to help me prepare a spreadsheet. So he said, no problem. So if you're listening, Rabbi Hagler, you really got this all in motion for me. And I remember him saying to me, we're going to open one Seder at a time because there's 525. And you know, we don't want to have spotty signups. I said, okay. So we opened up the first Seder, and I said, gosh, it signed up so fast. Can you open the second Seder? And he said, okay. And guess what? They all opened. And we all got a little, jittery about that. Well, here we are, over 100 people. Again, people I know, people I don't know. I was networking to make this happen. I was going to have all the Sidurim learned, and I think I posted about a month ago, right? Mm-hmm. That all the Mishnayot were signed up for. The last time all of them were signed up for was 13 years ago at Shloshim. Pretty unbelievable. So this is huge. So my first thanks go out to Rabbi Hagler for making that happen. Thank you, I'm so grateful. And then, like I do, I like to share my thoughts with the whole wide world. So one particular Shabbat lunch, and I wasn't supposed to go, but I was supposed to go, Ari Weeder and his lovely wife Sharon, and I hope you're watching. And I started to talk about how I really wanted to make this happen. And I had just come out of Discovery at Aish and had lunch in the basement, and one thought led to the next, and all I could think about was, wow, if I could have it in that room, if I could make that happen in the Old City, wouldn't that be amazing? So Ari Weeder said, I have a contact. Thank you, Kenny Yeager, who put me in touch with Rabbi Berg. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I got a call from Rabbi Berg right after Shkia Hanukkah. I was waiting to get the call. Remember, Aviva, we were in the car, and I said, a Hanukkah Nes. Rabbi Berg called me to say, we will do whatever you need. So again, I'm so grateful to Aish HaTorah, and I have to meet you, Rabbi Berg, when I go back to Teaneck. Then Rabbi Berg put me on to Bradley. Thank you. He had left already, but there's so many people that were behind this, and Kobe, the logistics man who I met not so long ago. But yeah, so this kind of all just evolved. It became bigger than me, and we're all here. And again, I'm so, so, so grateful. So what is it about 13? Why did I get so excited about this yard site? Well, for one thing, Ari did have a bar mitzvah, but he didn't get one at the kotel, so like we're right here. Noah actually had his tefillin already. My father had purchased it, but we didn't get there. And Natan was, he was only 4.5, and Adira was 5. So I started to think about 3 bar mitzvahs and a bat mitzvah, and how beautiful is that? And when you think about a bar mitzvah or a bat mitzvah, it's a celebration. So you know me, and I like to do things differently. So 13 years ago, the Siyam, and I remember because I had just come out of the hospital and barely made it there, and I spoke, and I just remember the room being very quiet and somber. Everybody did what they needed to do, and we all went home. And I said, not this time. And that's the answer, Rabbi Yom Tov Glazer, to your question. This was going to be different. This is going to be a Siyam/celebration, because the truth is, what's going on up there tonight is a Hilulah. So why can't we have a Hilulah down here? So I wanted that to be very different this time. I wanted to celebrate. 13 is also a coming out. It represents community, minyan, having a place within your Jewish nation. And I feel like we're all represented here as a nation. And I've evolved, and now their souls have evolved in the Shamayim, and this really, really is a celebration. So I want to just very briefly read something. I have a box at home, and I really don't know how that box ended up in my apartment. I'm going through storage right now. But I found this poem, and I'd like to start with this because it really represents what tonight is all about. 4 candles, and it's very interesting because tonight, when I go back to Rehovot, I'm lighting 4 candles. This is about 4 candles. 4 candles burn slowly. The ambience is so soft you can hear them talking. The first one says, I am peace. However, nobody can keep me alight. I believe I will go out. Its flame rapidly diminishes and it snuffs out. The second one says, I am faith. More than my companions, I am dispensable, so it doesn't make any sense that I stay alight any longer. As it finishes talking, a breeze softly blows on it, extinguishing it. Sadly, the third candle speaks in turn. I am love. I haven't got the strength to stay alight. People put me aside and don't understand my importance. They even forget to love those who are nearest to them. And waiting no longer, it goes out. Suddenly, a child enters the room and sees 3 candles that are not burning. Why are you not burning? You're supposed to stay alight till the end. Saying this, the child begins to cry. And then the 4th candle says, don't be afraid. While I am still burning, we can relight the other candles. I am hope. And with shining eyes, the child takes the candle of hope and lights the other candles. So tonight is a night of hope, a night of faith, and it kind of represents going forward in life. We all have adversity, we all have challenges. So this night should be a skula, that whatever comes to us that is difficult, with hope and with faith, we can get through it. So I'm so excited to share this Hilula with you tonight. And that was the intro. And now I'm going to ask my brother-in-law, except at this point we're really brother and sister. It's 45 years of my life. Wouldn't be here without him and his lovely wife Lolly, who are very dear to me. They came all the way from LA to be here. Pretty awesome. Thank you. And how fitting to have Shlomo speak on behalf of his 3 nephews and niece. And he was pretty close to the oldest, Ari. And he's going to lead the Siyum. Okay?
Next time I open. Before I jump into the Siyum, my name is Shlomo Seidenfeld. Before I jump into the Siyum, I'd like to share 2 thoughts. Thank you. I'd like to share 2 thoughts. First, the people who can speak most compellingly about faith, about emunah, are the people who have experienced the most profound loss. Those are our Rosh Yeshiva. Those are our teachers. They can speak with credibility about emunah. Phyllis is a beacon of emunah. I can't imagine a more appropriate place to do this, despite all of that in the background. I can't imagine a more appropriate place, overlooking Har HaBayis in the Kotel, in a place that embodies Aliyah. That's what this place embodies. And that's what we're here to do. To elevate the neshamas, to elevate our neshamas. And in Yiddishkeit, words are not random. And when you have 2 words that share the same letters, there's an eternal relationship. So the word in this, I'm sure you've heard before, the word for neshama reconfigured is Mishnah, because the best way to elevate a person's neshama, living or past, is through learning. And that's what we're going to do together. And any perspective that we get tonight, any chizuk that we get tonight, any clarity that we get tonight, we offer in the memory So not coincidentally, the last Seder of Mishnayos, is Taharos, purity. And we're here to honor the purest neshamas. The purest neshamas. And the last Mishnah is actually something that was added on. So we're going to learn that together, and I'm going to say a special Hadron and a special Kaddish. L'zecher Nishmas Aryeh Lev, Noach Simcha, Adira Amuna, and Nasan Yekutiel. Amar Rebbe Yoshua ben Levi. Yoshua ben Levi said, Asir HaKadosh Baruch Hu lahanchil l'chol tzadik v'tzadik shlosh me'os v'asara olamos. In the future, Hashem will cause every tzaddik, each and every tzaddik, to inherit 310 worlds. Shenemar, and it quotes a pasuk in Mishlei, Lahanchil ohavai yesh v'otzosem amalei, to cause those that I love to inherit yesh, which begematria is 310, v'otzosem amalei, and I will fill their treasuries. Amar Rabbi Shimon ben Chalafta, Lo matzah HaKadosh Baruch Hu kli machazik bracha li Yisrael ela hashalom. That Hashem did not find a kli, a vessel, that would fill the Jewish people with bracha like shalom, like peace. Shenemar, as it says in Tehillim, Adonai oz li amo yitain, Adonai yivarech es amo v'shalom. Hashem gives his nation strength, and he blesses them with peace. Again, not random, because the bracha that I offer the family Phyllis, Viva's here, Helena, Zahava, those neshamas that carry the torch. I hope you find peace. And I hope all parents in this country, mothers and fathers who have lost their children, find peace. And may the Mashiach come b'mehera v'yameinu so that there will be no more pain. Please rise for the Hadra. Sidrei Mishnah, Hadron Alach Datan Alach Shita Sidrei Mishnah, Datan Alan. Lo Nisnashe Minach Shita Sidrei Mishnah, Velo Sisnase Minan, Lo Alma Hadem, Lo Alma Dasa, Hadron Alach Shita Sidrei Mishnah, Hadron Alan. Datan Alach Shita Sidrei Mishnah, Datan Alan. No Nisnashe Minach Shita Sidrei Mishnah, Velo Sisnase Minan, Lo Alma Hadem, Lo Alma Dasa. Hadron Alach Shita Sidrei Mishnah v'Hadron Alan Datan Alach Shita Sidrei Mishnah v'Datan Alan Lo Nisna Shei Minach Shita Sidrei Mishnah Lo Sisnase Minan Lo V'Alma Hadem V'Lo V'Alma Desam Hadron Alach Seder Taharos v'Hadron Alach Datan Alach Seder Taharos v'Datan Alan Lo Nisna Shei Minach Seder Taharos V'Lo Sisnase Minan Lo V'Alma Hadem V'Lo V'Alma Dasan Hadron Alach Seder Taharos v'Hadron Alan Datan Allah Seder Taharos v'Datan Alan Lo Nisnashei Minach Seder Tavras v'lo sis nashe minach. Lo v'alma hadem v'lo v'alma dasa. Hadron alach. Seder Tavras v'hadron alach. Datan alach. Seder Tavras v'datan alan. Lo nis nashe minach. Seder Tavras v'lo sis nashe minan. Lo v'alma hadem v'lo v'alma dasan. Harev na Adonai Eloheinu, as divei soras befinu v'fios amcha beis hovini kulanu anach v'tzetzeinu v'tzetzeinu v'tzetzei amcha beis Yisrael kulanu yodesh mevalom deus arasach lishma me'oivai tichak meini mitzvosech ki leolam hi li yihi libi somim b'chukecha l'man lo evosh leolam lo ashkach pikudecha ki vam chi yisani baruch ata Adonai lamdeni chukecha amen 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 selava ed. Moda ani lefanecha Adonai Eloheinu v'levo sen shesamta chelki miyoshvei veis medrash v'lo miyoshvei kronos. Shani mashkim v'hem mashkim ani mashkim l'divei Yisrael v'hem mashkim l'dvarim b'telim ani amel v'hem amelim ani amel u'mekabel schar v'hem amelim v'eino mekabelim schar ani ratz v'hem ratzim ani ratz l'chai olam ba v'hem ratzim l'var shachas shenemar v'ata Elohim toridem l'var shachas anshe damim mirma lo yechatzu yemem v'ani Eftach bach. Yiratzon milfanech Adonai Eloheinu v'levo sen kishem she'azartani l'saim seder tavras kach ta'azreinu l'haskal sfar ma'acherim l'saimam lilmod l'lamed mitoch harchava l'shmor v'lasos l'kaimas kol divei sobo Torah ser b'ava u'zchus kol ha'tonaim v'amaraim v'sami dei chachamim hanizkarim b'seder tavras ובכל הספרים שלמדתי יעמוד לי ולזרי ולזרע זרי שלא סמוש התורה הקדושה מפי ומפי זרי וזרע זרי מעתה ועד עולם ויקוים בנו מקרא שכל זה בישראל לכך תנך עושה בשך בך תשמור עליך והקית סוסה היא שיחך כי בי ירבו ימיך ויוסיף לך שנות חיים אורך ימים במינה בשמאל האושר וכבוד אדוני לעמו ייתן אדוני ברצונו ושלום יזכדל ויזכדש שמי רבה בימדי דהו עשי לזכרתו לחיה מסיה ולעסקה לחיה עלמה ולמבנה קרתא דירושלים ולשכלל היכלי בגבה ולמרכד פולחנה נוכרה מערה ולעשבה פולחנה דשמיא לעשרי וים לקודשא בריחו במלכוסי וקרא בחייכון ויומכון וחיי דכל בית ישראל בעגלה בזמן קריב ואמרו אמן יהי שמי רב המבורך לעולם לעמל מאיה יסברך וישתבח ויספר וישרומם ויסנשא ויסעדה ויסעלה ויסעלל שמי דקודשא בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכסה ושירסה תושבחסה ונחמסה דאמירם בעלמא ואמרו אמן על ישראל והרבנן ועל תלמידיהם ועל כל תלמידי סלמידן ועל כל מן דעסקים ברייסי ועשרה הדין ודי בכל עשה ועשה יהי להון ולכון שלמה רבה חינה וחיסדה ורחמן וחיינה ריחין ומזוני רביחה ופורקנה מן קדם אבונדי ושמי וערב אמרו אמן יהי שלמה רבה מן שמי וחיים טובים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן ויעשה שלום במרומיו וברחמיו יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן.
I just have to say it one more time. The nechama that I have tonight is priceless. I have no words. Again, to all the 100 people that made the Mishnayot complete, most of you here, and all of you out there in the virtual camera, so grateful. And a special shout out to my daddy. He's always there for me. Such a wonderful father. And he made this happen in so many ways. He's always just a phone call away. And he's got the answer and the love and all the great ideas. Thank you, Daddy. I love you. His wonderful wife, Paula, is his right-hand man, lady. And together they're quite a team. Thank you both again. So now we're just going to have a few words about each of the kids, my gems and jewels. I just can't do that. I had to give that out tonight. So first, a few words about Ari. And he was 15 at the time. And Rabbi Seth, who's in Vienna, hi Rabbi Seth. Rabbi Seth Nadel was his cool rabbi in Mesivta High School. And he had a very special connection to Ari. And I'm sorry you can't be here, but God willing, we'll spend a lot of time together in the near future. He lives in Israel now. He used to live in Jersey. So Rabbi Seth sent some special words, and my bestie, my golden friend of 45 plus years, Frida, is going to read about Ari from Rabbi Seth. Frida is my other heart, my other brain. I don't know what I would do without her sometimes. Besides her cushy, cozy, comfy apartment in Rehovot and her lovely other half, Eddie, who are hostessing me now. So Frida, I give over to you to talk about Ari, Rabbi Seth's words.
These are some thoughts for the Siyum from an email written by Ari's cool Rebbe, Rabbi Seth, or Rabbi Nadel. Ari, Zichron Levracha, was a beloved Talmid. I will never forget his contagious smile, his infectious laughter, and his simchat hachayim, his love for life. I had just begun my career in Jewish education. I was inexperienced, wet behind the ears, and had a tough time maintaining decorum in the classroom. It didn't help. Ari always had me in stitches. I couldn't discipline. I was too busy laughing. The morning before his P'tirah, we had a Purim party at the school. I had brought my guitar and harmonica. Of course, after the concert, Ari decided to swipe my harmonica and the microphone and put on his own show. He left this world singing and dancing and entertaining others. The Talmud, Tanit 22 Aleph, relates that while walking in the marketplace, Rabbi Bukora asked Eliyahu Hanavi if anyone in the market is destined for the world to come. Eliyahu Hanavi pointed out two men who were indeed worthy. Intrigued, Rabbi Baroka approached the men to find out what their secret was. He asked, "What is your profession?" And they answered, "We are jesters. When we see people who are sad, we entertain them and cheer them up." Ari certainly earned his place in the world to come. I miss him dearly. It is an honor and privilege to participate in the Siyum. While I can't be there in person, I certainly am there in spirit. The Torah studied in Ari's memory and in the memory of his siblings should be a zechut for their holy neshamot. Yehi zechron baruch.
And now, a classmate of Noah, Shabsi, is that what you said? Shabi.
Close enough.
Shabi. Noah was 6, and actually was going to be a pirate for the 4th time. Purim of 2005. And, okay, take it away.
So I went to Yeshivat Noam, and I see in true Noam form we still have the invisible mechitza. So we're making Rabbi Hagler very proud. So, oh. You know what, I'm just gonna, yeah, okay. Yeah, I wish I was taller. So when we think of the history of Judaism, oh, you're gonna think so. Yeah, I don't know. Okay. Thank you. So when we think of Judaism, without question, I think the two standard bearers in our history were Abraham and Yitzchak. You know, their lives and their actions fundamentally altered human and religious history, and they culminated in the eventual foundations of what we know as Judaism today. Which makes it all the more strange that when they passed away, the Torah mentions it in a very cold, matter-of-fact, quick way. You know, it says, and Abraham died at this age, and Yitzchak died at this age, and these were their kids, and then it moves on. And what adds to that strangeness is when it talks about Yaakov and his passing, there's an entire parsha dedicated to it. It's all of Parshas Vayechi. And it talks about his last will and testimony, and it talks about the eulogies that were given over for him, and it talks about what he wanted from his kids. And so why is it when it comes to Abraham and Yitzchak, who really founded the pillars of Judaism that we know today, their death was mentioned in a very quick passage. When it comes to Yaakov, an entire parsha, Parshas Vayechi, is dedicated to his last few days. And so I was thinking about this, and I mean, there's only one rabbi in the room, so no one can really tell me I'm wrong. But I think one of the answers can be that when Abraham was passing, although he lived a life that was full and was devoted to Hashem, at the end of the day, he couldn't guarantee himself that he really lived a life that had a legacy, because he knew that the kids that he had, Yishmael and Yitzchak, were going to be eternally divided between this battle of good and evil. And so although when he died, that was it, because there was no one else to kind of continue that legacy of Abraham. After Abraham was nothing. And so too with Yitzchak, although he completed a life of richness, of fullness, when he died, that was the end of the era, because he knew that his sons would be locked also in this eternal battle, Yaakov and Esav, of kind of good and evil. But when Yitzchak dies, it's the total opposite. He's surrounded on his bed with 12 of his sons, and he sees for the first time really in Jewish history, there's a united effort, and there's going to be this legacy that Yaakov started and will always continue. And that's why, interestingly, Parshas Vayechi never mentions that Yaakov died, and in fact, Masechet Tanis mentions that he never died. Because when someone passes, although their physical body left them, you can never really kill someone if they have a legacy, and if they started something, because it will always be able to continue. And so I think that's what we're doing today. Although the physical bodies left us 13 years ago, you can't really say that they left us, because if you look around, people who traveled far, I mean, I go to Asia, I walked up the stairs, but no matter where you came from, the fact that your kids brought us all here, not just today, but for the past 13 years, they embody that Vayechi. You could say the bodies aren't there, but the spirit of Yaakov and the spirit of Vayechi is very much alive today. And I really only have one memory of Noah. If you want to know really funny stories, that's the guys and girls here. I'll be very honest, I was visiting Yeshivat Noam in kindergarten. I hated my old school. And I walk into the kindergarten class and I see what I then realized only after was Noah, and he was carrying a bunny. Was there like a class pet, like a rabbit? Yeah? Okay. So he was carrying this rabbit, and he was just running around the classroom smiling, and I think actually Mora Esther got very mad at him. So, awkward. But that's really the only memory I had of just like this kid just very, very excited in whatever he was doing. And so to be very honest, no, I didn't know you, and I'm very sorry I didn't know you. And I really wish that we could have grown up together for 8 years at middle school at Noam. And above that, I really wish I was a really bad kid that we could have gotten sent to the principal office together, that we could have copied off of Ryan's math homework. He was always wrong. And I just want to say there's a story, I actually heard this from Rabbi Hagler. There is this story of this a kid, and he had a brand new kite with him. And so like every day he would go out and he was so excited with his kite and he'd play with it every day. And as the days and really weeks went on, the kite would get higher and higher and higher. And eventually the kite got so high that it went above the clouds and he couldn't see it anymore. And this kite that he loved so much was gone. And so he was sitting down, he was crying and he was crying. And eventually, after a few hours of just like sobbing, he realized that the kite, although he couldn't see it anymore, it had to have been there because he was still holding on to that string that connected him with that kite. And so, again, going back to the idea of Vayechi, although the person isn't there, there's always something that intrinsically connects you back. And when we think of Purim, we think of the four M's, right? The Mishta, Megillah, Help Me Out, Matano Lavyonim, and Mishlach Mano. There we go. But really, for us in this room, for the past 13 years, there's been a fifth M, and that's been of memory. Because no Purim, when we think about our preparations for Purim, what we're going to do, and what we're going to dress up as, or whatever, we always know in the back of our head that it's not just Purim, because before we do the celebration, there's the fifth command of memory. And that's what we're carrying on that tradition today for the past 13 years. And I just close by saying this. The whole point of life, well, one of the points, that's a bold statement, one of the points of life is you want to live a complete life of 613, right? To the best of your ability, you want to get 613. But unfortunately, the biggest fear, I would say, that mankind has throughout history, indifferent of religious, financial, or social background, is death. No one likes death. In fact, the biggest question that's been plaguing scholars since the dawn of mankind is how do you maximize your time when it's finite? And so we're so preoccupied with that idea of death. How can I possibly, learn or waste my time, with my family? I need to go out and explore the world. So when we take death, which has the gematria of 440, and you subtract that from 613, who is good in math? Who had Rabbi Wasser? That is 173. Thank you. That's 173. So although we strive for this life of 613, we always preoccupy ourselves with the stupidity of wondering how it's all going to end. So we go from 613 minus 440, which is mate, and we get 173. And that's more or less how we live our lives. We live our lives as a 173. And I was thinking about this idea of living a life as a 173, and I thought that's terrible. There has to be more than that. And so I was sitting down, and when I thought of this idea, I called my mom. It was really cool. She didn't pick up. I emailed her. She didn't respond. If you know her number, text her. The gematria of 173 is Anochi Hashem Elokecha. And so if you plug God back into that equation, 173 plus the 440, you get 613. Because if you don't have to fear death, because that's really just the beginning, and because you're leaving behind this legacy of Vayechi, there's no point of fearing, because there's nothing to fear. And that's what Noah and all your kids have taught us and continue to teach us, and what you continue to teach us. And with that, we should all live a life really going from 173 to 613. Thank you.
Okay, I am having such nachas right now. I'm bursting. And I am just so grateful to HaKadosh Baruch Hu that I've been blessed to be able to stay connected to you. I'm sure there are a lot of mommies might not have wanted to do that. It would have been too painful. And that has just been, our bond has kind of kept me afloat, and I hope we can continue to stay in touch. Lali, my special sister-in-law, who I love so much, is going to speak about Adar and Natan. Okay.
Hi. Phyllis found a piece of paper just very recently that was a poem written by one of Adira's classmates' mothers. Adira was just 5 years old when she left this world. Adira, powerful in my memory, chosen by her mother. Our throats say of her, indeed she is beautiful, with song we shall adorn her. Prominent in my memory, her mother's glory, and her friends say of her, indeed she is beautiful, with song we shall adorn her. Pure in her childhood, strong in my memory, the angels sing of her, indeed she is beautiful, with song we shall adorn her. Unique to her mother, large in my memory, we must say of her, indeed she is beautiful, with song we shall adorn her. Commanding in her presence, that she was. Wise in her insight, her loved ones say of her, indeed she is beautiful, with song we shall adorn her. Our grief remove from us, redeem us, please, our Savior. Without sorrow, may we say of her, indeed, she is beautiful. With song we shall adorn her. Holy in my memory, merciful one, help us. May her rest be in peace. Indeed, she is beautiful. With song we shall adorn her. Indomitable in her spirit, with Emunah, Hashem is her mother's support. Innocent, we say of her, indeed she is beautiful. With song we shall adorn her. I'd like to share some words written by Phyllis about Natan. Sweet, pure soul, named after my grandfather Nasi, Nasan, my father's dad. Even though he had just started to talk, he had the phrase down, "How doin'?" Natan smiled at every passerby and was sure to greet them all. He would spend hours strumming his guitar and singing his own song. Natan had just started to talk at the age of 4.5 years old. He loved the pizza song by Uncle Moishi and was the topic of conversation, often between the siblings. They would lovingly fight over who he would live with one day. I warmly interjected that he would take turns going from house to house, that they could share him. His siblings all thought he was Mashiach because he was so pure, a Downs child. I always felt so proud that my children held him in the highest regard. He was Adira's other half, and they loved each other so.
Okay, now I'd like to introduce a very special Rav in the back of the room, Rabbi Yom Tov Glazer. Rosh Hashanah, Erev Rosh Hashanah, I sat in the Discovery class upstairs. The last time I had been to Discovery was 30 years ago in Mississippi, Natchez, Mississippi, and I was very curious to see how the class had evolved 30 years later. So I made it a point to go, and Rabbi Glazer was the last speaker. And I just remember being wowed. Really wanted to talk to him at the end of the class, but I think that day was running quite late and there wasn't an opportunity. And even though I had taken a whole notebook of notes, I came back to Teaneck and tried to give it over to Aviva, but I just couldn't do it like the Rebbeim in Discovery. So Bezrat Hashem, we're going to go in 2 weeks. But anyway, so moved by his way, I started to log on YouTube. And I said, here, Aviva, here you go. I can't give it over like him, but here he is. You can watch him. So Rabbi Yom Tov came into our lives through YouTube. And happened to be one night as I was dreaming about making the Siyum happen. And in Aish, not by mistake, but by mistake, I actually logged on to a Purim YouTube. I was looking for some words of Torah, Chizuk, that I thought, wherever I'm going to be for the yard site, I'm going to speak. I thought you'd be speaking, but you were playing a guitar in that YouTube. And you were doing the bongos with Evan. And that's another story we'll talk about, how I met Evan in the shuk. So I'm like, whoa, Rabbi Yom Tov is there with Evan. This has to mean something. And so, fast forward a little bit, and I was just fantasizing how awesome that would be. I happened to share thoughts with Shlomo one day about our trip here to Israel and how I was going to go to Discovery and how I was thinking about the Siyum, and wouldn't that be awesome if, I don't even know why I said it, Rabbi Yom Tov Glazer could play. He goes, well, you know, we're really good friends. I'm like, no, this can't be. This is not happening. And so I had no idea that the dots started to connect that way, that Rabbi Yom Tov Glazer and Shlomo were connected, and Lali. And so one thing led to the next. So your Torah has infused our lives. And Ir HaKodesh and you in the room, it's so, so special. And Bezrat Hashem will have music from Rabbi Yom Tov. So if you would like to give some words, I'd be grateful. Feel very honored.
Yeah, and then I can
used to having people stand for me, except in seminaries and stuff like that. Take care of this. Put it on the table. You know, all of us are going through something right now. All of us. I'm going through something right now, probably more than one thing. Definitely more than one thing. Anyone my age is going through more than one thing, especially if you have kids, then you're going through many things. We're all going through something, and we all wish we were on the other side of it. We all wish we're on the other side of it. And there are people who pay lawyers to get to the other sides of things, therapists to get to the other sides of things. And we'll pay, and once you realize how important happiness is, people will spare no dime to get on the other side of something. And we will also spend money to distract ourselves from what we're going through, whether it be shopping or food, sports, or anything else. Just don't want to be in this right now. And yet every one of us, our characters have developed the way they are from what we went through. That's what's made you who you are. You're created out of the things you went through. We're all in one big seminar. You know, heavy-duty seminars like the one I run is, it puts you through stuff. It puts you through stuff. Sometimes the first night of my seminar, the men or the women will all look at me like, where are you going with this, Rabbi? But like really look at me like, where are you going with this? And I said to 2 groups ago, or 3 groups ago, I said to these men, I said, I'm messing with you. And they're all like, huh? I'm like, I'm messing with you, and I'm gonna be messing with you more, and more, and more intensely as this work goes on. But aren't we all in a seminar, and aren't we all getting messed with all the time? And yet the greatness that we are, who we've become as a result of the seminar we're all in, is all a result of what we went through, what we've been through. There have been times, difficult times in my life, where I would do anything to get out of them. And yet, in retrospect, I wouldn't trade them today for who I am. Would you trade yours? Would you trade what you've been through if you also had to trade who you've become? That's a very, very heavy statement to say at a time like this. Very heavy statement. Because when we deal with the passing of a loved one, we are like, the devastation is so deep in it, and there's no way to get it back, and there's no way to, it feels like there's no way to move on, but this is just the deepest kneading of our dough that a human being could ever go through, and we should never ever, those of us who have never been through it should never go through it, but in the end we'll all lose people, and we're gonna, our cells will be lost too one day. It's amazing God's sense of humor when it comes to our lives and our mortality. You know, everything you'll ever have in your life, you know, for example, all you young men and women, you're gonna like build lives and stuff. It's going to be taken away, all of it. When you know, you'll look in the mirror one day and you'll say, I'm getting old. And the fear strikes that it's all going to be taken away. This is part of life, that whatever you have will be released from you. It's going to be taken. And you can either surrender to that or you can fight it. It's a $1 trillion industry to fight it. Whether it's cosmetic, clothing, surgeries, you name it, the whole world is scared to death of losing everything. But there's no makeup artist or plastic surgeon who's great enough to remove from us this amazing, amazing white flag that every single one of us will have to put up in the air and let it go. And so therefore, joy in life is the person who surrenders early. Real joy comes to the person who surrenders now. Every moment is a gift. What you're experiencing even right now as these vibrations move through the room, this is not English I'm speaking. Somehow my lips are able to create complex mathematical equations that are moving through the room at vibrational energies that are vibrational frequencies that are high. For example, an A would be, let's say, 440, that's an A about. So my voice is right now moving across the room at 440 oscillations per second. But I'm breaking it up with the exits of my mouth, and I'm moving all around and up and down. And those thousands of vibrational frequencies are hitting your eardrums. You have a little tympanic membrane collecting all the math. And there's a little monkey playing the drums on your eardrum. And that's sending it up your audio nerves into your brain. Your brain is made of neurons. You have billions of neurons all connected to each other. And they either fire or don't fire. Fire or don't fire. Well, when you have things firing, not firing, that's really ones and zeros. And ones and zeros is binary code, it's digital. And in fact, we have a digital machine up here called the cerebral cortex. And all it does is take vibrational frequency and translate it into, right now it translates into this world, this room, this hall, my English that you're hearing right now. And what does it do? It can't understand English. Your neurons can't understand English. That wouldn't be possible. What do? They match this English to all the English you've ever heard. This is why you could have a Chinese person in here who never heard English, and they wouldn't understand a word I'm saying because they don't have the ability to match it with their past. Your neurons are in real time translating what I'm saying, which is all math, into English based on the past. But in fact, God doesn't do time. There is no time elapse. God is creating the world constantly, perpetually. We say it every morning. He's Machadesh B'tuva B'chol Yom Tamid Ma'aseh Bereishis. God is creating the world at all times. Now, to our perspective, thousands of nows looks like the passage of time. There's no passage of time. All reality happens every moment. It's happening now and now and now and now and now. The person who surrenders lives in that present tense. When we surrender our fear, when we surrender our mortality, when we surrender our stuff, and even to surrender our loved ones, and surrender ourselves. We live in the moment. We live in this precious, precious space called now. And in this precious space called now, you're at peace and at one. There are no problems. Let me explain something about anxiety. Anxiety, in our sages term it, it's called tsarat machar. Tsarat machar. Tsara, pain or suffering, mahar, of tomorrow. You see, now, in this moment, you can handle anything. You can handle anything right now. I just had, I had what was called an EMG test in the doctor's office the other day. I'm so glad I didn't know what that meant until I got in there. Someone's giggling, so she must have had an EMG test. But it means, it ain't fun, guys. Electromagnetic, I think the G stands for like, Gah! When the doctor touches you with the electrodes. And they're just testing how responsive nerves are, in the legs and wherever someone might be having an issue. I'm like jumping out of this bed, and thank God I didn't know about it because I would have projected into my tsarat machar. I would have had anxiety. So I was just laying in the bed, chilling with the doctor, like, yeah, go ahead, do your little EMG, no problem. I was jumping around this bed like a fish inside this bed. I think he made me worse than what I came for. But in the moment of getting those shocks, I could be there. Meaning he was coming back with the next shock. He was going nerve by nerve. He's coming back for the next shock. I didn't leave. I didn't get up. I didn't go. I didn't run away. It's coming. It's coming. Boom. There it is. Boom. Whole body. moment you can handle anything. Here, you can handle anything. Right here, right now. Now, let's say this is the moment, and this is the future. Now, you got a lot of stuff that you're going to have to do in the future. We all have a lot of things on our minds. If you're in yeshiva or seminary, it maybe got a little easier than the rest of us, but we got stuff going on. And what is anxiety? Anxiety is when you take all those future events and you try to deal with them now. When all the future events stack up into now, I can't deal with that. I can't deal with that. And that's what creates anxiety. Anxiety is when you take when you're hijacked by your own mind and ripped out of now and thrown into the future events. How can you deal with all those events now? But one at a time, we can handle anything. Because right now is what's coming down the pipes. And this is the Ashkacha protest, and this is what we're here to experience now. Every Jewish holiday, whether it be Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, Pesach, Hanukkah, all the holiday Shavuos, it's all about Klal Yisrael. It's about us as a whole. Those holidays are really not so much about you. In fact, a lot of Baal Teshuvas are really excited. They heard all about Elul and how amazing, and we're coming into Rosh Hashanah. They look in the Makzer, there's not one thing about them in 2 whole days of davening. It's not Avi Malki, it's Avinu Malkeinu. It is the big picture. Rosh Hashanah, if you think of it from the beginning to the end of Rosh Hashanah, it's all the big picture. It's not about you. Now, of course, each one of us will have our time. We will give our personal prayer. But it's not built in by our sages in the day. Purim, my friends, is about you. Purim is a rough story from beginning to end. There's nothing really good happening in that story. We are going into one of our most festive, funnest, most blasts of a day. And there's no day higher, no day funner, no day happier. Now, of course, especially women, you have to surrender into the day because when taking a poll of like Jewish women, this is their least favorite day because it's so out of control, especially if their husbands drink. And it's just such an out of control day that, you know, between the shalach manas and the teacher's gifts and the this and the that, you're like, it's the funnest, most awesome day of the year. It's an absolute blast. And then we read Megillah Esther. And we read Megillah Esther and there's no good news in there. No good news whatsoever. It's the Jews in exile. We've lost our Beit HaMikdash. A Hitler, Iyamach Shemo, personality rises to power, named Haman. The king takes the top-level, most spiritual prophetess, who, according to our sages, is actually married to Mordechai. He's not just her uncle, but he actually adopted her. And in the end married her. And she's taken by force by the king. The holiest girl in all of Israel is taken by the king. It's a horrific, horrific situation. In order to just stay married to him, halachically, she had to be taken by force each time. Otherwise, Mordechai could never be with her because the halacha is that if a woman is taken by force, unless she's married to a Kohen, she can stay married to her husband if she's taken. Each time Esther, ultimately, she's raped. The holiest girl in all of Israel, prophetess. This is our story. We're about to read this. We're all going to be in crazy outfits just waiting for the word Haman. You know, we're like, let's go, you know, Haman, rah! We're reading a horrific story. There's nothing good going on. And then the next thing you know, full-on genocide. Full-on genocide for all the Jews. And we enter in this state of this crazy mourning period to the point where it climaxes in 3 days of fasting, sackcloth, And there's no good news going on here. No good news. The whole story is crazy and horrific. And in the end, when it all boils down, we get permission to defend ourselves. Like, thank you very much. Jews get to defend themselves. It's like people first getting used to that we have an IDF. Like, oh, Jews are going to defend themselves? And that's all we got in the whole story. Like, the best news was, oh, you can defend yourselves. That's it. And when the day hits, go ahead and defend yourselves. Thank you for nothing. And that's exactly what the Jews did. And they defended themselves and they won. And in the end, Esther, to even get there, had to leave Mordechai because the only way she could go into the king unannounced meaning she's going to get taken by the king. But this time, meaning intimately, but this time she had to choose to go in. And this time, by choosing to go into the king, she was losing her marriage over that. Did you know that? You know Esther had to leave Mordechai because of that last time. And in the end, Haman and the 10 sons are hung, and Mordechai is wearing the signet ring, and you would think all's good now, like things are going to get really good now, and she'll get, Achashverosh to rebuild, bring the Jews home and rebuild Beis Hamikdash and all those things. But instead, Esther, and the king says to her, like, you can have whatever you want. You can have it all. And every other time the king said you can have whatever you want, he always said ad chetzia malchus, till halfway of the kingdom. Well, between Hodu and Kush, between India and Africa, what's halfway? Jerusalem. You can have anything, don't ask for Jerusalem. But this last time, now that he knows she's Jewish, Haman's dead, the 10 sons are dead, the Amalekites have been wiped out, he offers her anything you want. And instead of Esther saying, please send my people back to Jerusalem and please rebuild Beit HaMikdash, instead she says, may Haman's 10 sons be hung on the gallows. And they're already dead. And that's all Esther wants. She just wants to hang the 10 sons of Haman. Very strange request. Very strange request. Hang 10 dead men tomorrow. But when a prophetess says the words tomorrow, what might she mean? What may tomorrow mean? It means the future. And in fact, 2,500 years later, were the Nuremberg trials, where 10 Nazis are hung. They were supposed to be hung in June, and instead it got postponed all the way to October 16th in 1946. And that year happened to be in Hebrew, Tav Shin Zayin. And the list of Haman's sons' names encoded in the letters of Haman's sons are the letters Tav Shin Zayin, 5707, the actual date. Now, we only know about this after 1946, that when Esther said, let the 10 sons be hung as, and meaning tomorrow, only after 1946 we know what that was all about. But before that, it wasn't good news either. Even the king said, have anything, you can have anything, and she chooses to hang the sons. Today we know that's huge. That was a sign from God for us to know that we're still current. God's still with us. But for the story of Megillah Esther, what's the good news? It's okay. I'm sure it's my mother-in-law or something. Now, there's a phone plugged in back there. I just started looking at my guitar going like, what's going on over there? You're inside a story right now. You're in the seminar of your life. You're getting messed with all the time. You're in your own Megillah Esther. Every other Jewish holiday is klali. It's our national holiday. When it comes to Purim, it's your story. This is your story. You're inside your own Megillah. You're inside your own story. You see that if you can think back to anything from 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 3 years ago, that you were going through, you see it's already probably resolved. You got the growth you had to get. You can understand your Megillah. The word Megillah Esther means the revelation of the hidden. Megillah is to reveal, and Esther means hidden. It means the revelation of the hidden. You don't see God in it. Just like this world we're in right now, this outer crust of creation that we live in, you can't see God. Whatever you're going through is part of a great story. It's his story. That's why it's called his story. It's capital H, his story. This is his story, and you're inside it, and you're a key player. Revealed self, revealed soul, revealed truth about yourself. What masks are we wearing? What character are we playing? Is there anything left of the beautiful child you were when you were 2 years old? Is she around? Is he still there? When's the last time you laughed like that, cried like that, like a 2-year-old? When's the last time you loved like that? When's the last time you sang like that? When's the last time you didn't care what anyone thought and expressed yourself like that? We're all wearing a mask that is a composite mask of so many different details of creation. Sorry, did I say creation? So many different details of our parents and role models. And we wouldn't even know who we were if we spent 2 hours trying to explain it to somebody. All we get is just a composite of influences. Underneath it all, there's just this moment, and your soul, this moment, your soul, this moment, your soul. And that soul has access to the creation. When we are wearing the character of the composite mask that we've developed that we call our personality, what happens is every second of our life is a calculation anticipating the future. That's probably too deep right now at this point of this moment, what I'm sharing, but I'm going to say that one more time. When you're living inside a character that you developed to protect yourself basically from other thoughts about yourself, when you're living in that character, you spend your time in constant anticipation. You're spending your life here. And what are you anticipating? You're anticipating that nothing should happen like when I was a kid, of those painful or embarrassing moments when I was a child. So you've got the past patterns, which are ultimately flinging themselves into the future where we're trying to navigate and make sure none of that stuff ever happens. When we relieve ourselves of that mask, all that's left is your beautiful child, that beautiful toddler, this 2-year-old gorgeous child that is at peace and at one with everything that comes in the moment. There's nothing that can ever happen to you in this moment. Am I allowed to go straight into the next part? Or are you?
I guess. I just wanted to wrap up with a little devotional.
Okay, so I'm going to sing just one song and then we'll hit that. We're going to rock out a little later and dance in honor of Purim coming. So everyone, please participate in the dancing section of this evening. Take a smaller step. Take a deeper breath. Let your motor cool. Slow down to a crawl as your defenses fall. Feel your soul refuel. Everything you thought, all that you believed, hold it in your hands and let it go. Nothing left to fear, open to receive, setting free the child, the beautiful child in you. Do a little dance, sing a simple song, laugh so hard you're crying. Chase a butterfly, climb a mountainside. Once again you're flying, the person of your dreams coming into view. Nobody can take that dream away. Somebody who trusts, somebody who shares, someone like the child, the beautiful child in you. Everything you thought, all that you believed, hold it in your hands and let it go. Everyone you love, want you to achieve, they want to meet the child, the beautiful child in you. Beautiful child is you.
Thank you so much. That was beautiful. Rabbi Glazer. I just want to end. I want to end with a little Devar Torah, back to 13, if I may. And then I want to take it to 14. So as I was thinking about tonight, I had this aha moment, not just about 13 being bar mitzvah, being community, being coming together, being part of a nation, having duties and responsibilities as a young man or a young woman, but I thought of the 13 principles of faith and how that really resonates with me. And I was actually, about a month ago, went to a Shabbat bar mitzvah, and a shout out for Rabbi Adler of Rina Israel, who was speaking about the Parsha that week, and how when Miriam was at the Yam Suf, she actually not only praised HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but she sang and she danced. And that we're obligated to not just praise the Ribono Shel Olam, but we need to have song and dance. And that, again, is what I wanted tonight to be all about. So the 13 principles of faith. Rabbi Wiener, who I spoke to after the Kiddush, who's the assistant rabbi at Rinat Yisrael, him and I were kind of bouncing back this 13 Principles of Faith idea, and a really, really cool Devar Torah came about. So the Rambam, who wrote the 13 Principles of Faith, this is really cool, everybody, he actually had an affinity for the number 14. Perhaps because he was born on Erev Pesach, which is the 14th of Nisan. He also wrote 14 sections of his Code of Jewish Law of Mishnah Torah, and he also divided the mitzvot into 14 categories, the Guide to the Perplexed. So 14 is his number. So why then 13 Principles of Faith? Couldn't he have maybe organized it such that it came out to 14? So what's that all about? And I'm going to leave you with a thought to take with you tonight based on Rabbi Jonathan Sachs' explanation. And pretty much the 13 Principles of Faith are what we have to do with our relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, believing in Him. If you will, the 14th piece is the opposite. It's HaKadosh Baruch Hu's belief in us. And so if you put it all together, we get this man-God, God-man relationship that's forever evolving and is one, which is emes, which is truth. And so we went from 13 to 14, and now I'm going to come back to Purim, and that is 14th of Nisan. So the Principles of Faith, my Purim story, our Purim story, is directly related to Purim. And I guess I have a kesher with the Rambam now. So when we have spiritually arrived is when we are in a relationship with Hashem. And I can say back to bar mitzvah and bat mitzvah for the kids, they've evolved to a certain place now in the heavens. And I feel like I've evolved. As you were speaking about, Rabbi Glazer, I'm at peace. I'm serene. I accept HaKadosh Baruch Hu's will. And so this speaks to me. Ani ma'amina, the 13 Principles of Faith. So we go to Purim, which is the 14th of Adar. And then my head today jumped to 14th Nisan, which is his birthday, but it's Erev Pesach. And so I remember that 13 years ago, I was about to charter very strange territory, a new life that I couldn't imagine. And like B'nai Yisrael, though, I had Hashem with me, and I felt secure. And I knew He would make it all okay. I knew that with all my heart. And I'm going to just conclude with a very beautiful story. Nobody can tell it like my dad. I'm going to try. So 13 years ago, I was laying in the burn unit at St. Barnabas Hospital. They didn't know if I would live or die. It was a very touch and go 24 hours. And they put me in a medically induced coma. My lungs were charred, I couldn't breathe. I was put on a ventilator, and I pretty much was put out of life for about 10 days. Two Chabad rabbis came from the neighborhood, and they tried to convince my father to let him come in and read the Megillah for Purim. And I promise you, my father was the only man that ever slept 5 days on that burn unit, because he wasn't going to let them say no. And he shooed them away. But they were brave and very strong, and they came back. And the Polish nurse said to my father, I think it would be a really good thing So he let them in, and they literally rolled out the whole Megillah over my body and read it. And the burn unit at St. Barnabas is very, very quiet at night. And my father just heard the echoes of the beautiful Megillah. And I know that that living scroll infused not only life back within me, but it also gave me the power to be able to face what was ahead. I know it. I always think back to that story. And what made that Polish nurse tell my daddy? And why did he listen? You know my father, he doesn't listen to anybody. I think when I woke up, I had a Hamantaschen or two under my pillow, actually. I think they slipped something under there, and I remember finding it. So Purim is very special to me. 14, 13. There's nothing random. Dates are not random. Yud Aleph, by the way, which is tonight. Rabbi Saidi from Detroit once gave a Devar Torah that Yud stands for Yichud and Aleph stands with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, MS. No mistake. My kids passed on Yud Aleph. They are with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I am with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You know, you hear me say it all the time. I'm a fan of the man. So I hope you will take with you hope and faith, the beauty of the holiday, and you'll keep HaKadosh Baruch Hu as close to you as I keep him to me. We need to sing his praises, and we need to dance. We are obligated. So Rabbi Yom Tov, if you'll bring out your guitar, please let us sing and dance.
Okay, gang, apparently we're going to party a little bit after all this intensity. So they don't call me. So let's all get up, and I don't know how to set this up exactly for men and women, but maybe we need some kind of we need to separate something here a little bit. You know what? Let's do, guys. You just pull this table out a little bit. Maybe we'll make this table divide up the room a little bit. Yeah, bring that table out to the middle. Put the guys on one side. You can put chairs actually. Chairs are just as good and they're easier. A few more chairs. They're already dancing. Guys, what you do?
Thank you, everybody, for coming and making this happen. Rabbi Glazer for turning this wasn't just a siyum, a mamash celebration. A hilula here on this planet Everybody get home safely. It's going to be a YouTube, by the way. Shlomo, the videographer, thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, everybody, you know how to stay in touch, right? I want to hear good news. Okay? By the way, I guess that means we're signing off. To all of you in America, thank you for joining and making this happen. I'm so grateful.